Ambassador McKee, thank you so much for being with us and welcome on our program. First of all, let's start about your purpose of your visit. So I know that you have in prior visited Armenia, now you are here in Georgia. What is the purpose of this, distinguished visit? Because you are with a delegation of representatives, different institutions.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me this morning. It's a pleasure to speak with you about why I'm here. I'm leading the U.S. delegation for the Silk Road Forum, which we believe is a very important event for Georgia to showcase the opportunities we have for increased trade, integration, and opportunity for Georgia sitting here in the midst of the Middle Corridor to open up new trade and economic opportunities, not just for Georgia, but for the entire South Caucasus and frankly, European region.
So you mentioned the Silk Road Forum. This is really interesting, and a lot of countries are participating in this forum. And actually, this is really interesting. What is your opinion about these possibilities you mentioned right now? There are the Middle Corridor. There's sometimes they're called about the Belt and Road project of China, and et cetera, which is kind of coming into touch with this Silk Road idea. And especially this is very interesting after the Georgia signed a strategic partnership with China, et cetera. What is your opinion? What is the U.S. vision of this project, and how it can help or how it can react on these kind of initiatives?
So we believe that economic opportunity, diversification, alternative routes undergird and underpin economic prosperity and diversification. And so we absolutely support expanding those opportunities, opening up trade routes, infrastructure, connectivity, and other diversified trade, energy, communications, and alternatives for every nation. And Georgia in particular has great potential to be able to serve as a conduit and a facilitator to provide this diversification, not just for Georgia, but for the region. I hope that in partnership with any country, that Georgia would look very closely at quality, environmental impact, and the indebtedness associated with various partnerships, whomever they're with, as they embark upon expanding these routes and looking towards the West for this greater economic connectivity that we support wholeheartedly, which is why I'm here.
What do you think about the increasing competition in South Caucasus and in Central Asia between the East and West? The presence of the Chinese companies, presence of the Indian economies, and etc. in the Central Asia, in South Caucasus, increasing more and more by sides of the Western presence in these regions. What is this? Is it really hard competition, or is it really the very usual stuff?
So competition is good. Competition is good because it provides choice, it provides options, and it ensures that a sovereign nation who's independent can make an informed choice about who they do business with, who they trade with, and ultimately where their economic diversification is best rooted for the interests of the people. So the United States welcomes transparent, high quality partnerships with whomever, so long as the host country is not put in a position of indebtedness or the choices that they have on who they want to do business with and where they want to export their goods are not reduced. Free and open competition, market diversification, and choice of whom you're going to do business with is the hallmark of economic prosperity and democracy.
Yeah, definitely. So, and finally, to sum up somehow this Silk Road Forum event, what will be your message to the participants?
My message is that the United States, in particular, stands with Georgia to be able to realize their full potential and is ready to help unlock the connectivity we know that will assure Georgia's future in the Euro-Atlantic integration.
So, as I know, you have on agenda to meet the Georgian government, Georgian NGOs, and what is the message to these people? I mean, to governmental organizations and to NGOs and etc. The society who is making politics in Georgia.
So the United States, at least, or in particular USAID, has partnered with the people and the government of Georgia for almost 32 years to help build those resilient democratic institutions, which include supporting civil society, to ensure that democratic processes are free, fair, and transparent, that every citizen's voice can be heard and every vote can be cast without fear of distortion or that the process somehow is not fully transparent, and protecting the democratic processes that are so vital for citizens to have faith in the democracy and the democratic processes. So we've worked for, as I said, almost 32 years to help shore up those institutions. We're working with the Central Election Commission to help ensure that the digital voting process that they're going to roll out to, I think, over 90 sites, or 90% of the voting population are understood and ironclad. We also work with civil society to make sure that the advocacy on the part of the citizens is heard by the government. And we're working across all political parties to ensure that they understand their responsibility in ensuring a free, fair, transparent election process takes place.
So, Madam Ambassador, I would like to touch this relatively sensitive issue, which was recently this investigation which is conducted by the State Security Service about the Canvas Georgia and about some GDI allegations that there are some kind of funding of the revolution or supporting revolution and etc. And even the leader of the ruling party, he was claiming that he's expecting some kind of explanation from the USAID funding these kind of events. What do you can say about it?
So first of all, the allegation that we are fostering any type of anti-democratic process is completely false. We, as I said, support multiple civil society organizations, all political parties, and the process of democracy by ensuring that the rights of every Georgian under the Georgian Constitution are protected.
So I don't know if you were aware about this footage that was provided by the State Security Service regarding the event by Canvas Georgia, where they're kind of training about how to organize the revolution or something like that, as the allegation said. Maybe you are provided with the full footage, because we are not provided with the full footage of this event. We just part of the we know about the part of this footage and where some particular issues are touched.
So I have not seen the footage, but I would say that our work across both the political spectrum and with civil society is very inclusive, and we ensure again that the democratic process, procedures, and participation of every Georgian is protected under the Georgian Constitution, and to support the outcome of the democratic processes, regardless of who wins. It's to make sure that democracy works and prevails, which we know that the Georgian government and the Georgian people are working so hard to achieve.
Are you going to touch this issue with the ruling party?
I am fully prepared to talk about our work in supporting thriving democracy, but I will certainly, as I already told you, that any allegation or suspicion of non-democratic support to Georgia is absolutely incorrect.
Why is it really very important to have this full picture about these issues? I mean, actually this footage, it could be kind of speculative, what to find in this footage, how to explain the different words and etc. Because there are some talks about that, how the revolution was organized in Ukraine or in Serbia and etc. etc. The talks, it could be kind of sharing experience from their side. I mean, sharing the history from their side, or it really could be kind of preparing some people for revolution and something like that. speculations could be made after this footage. So this is really important to understand what really happened there, and for trust towards USAID, for trust to Georgian government, and etc. To have this trust between the partners. It's really important to have the full picture of what had happened.
So I can't again speak to the footage, nor can I control speculation. I stand by the partnership that we've had for over 32 years that absolutely undergirds full and inclusive civic-minded activity, civil society support, and political party support, and support to the government to strengthen the institutions of democracy across the board. We do not choose or pick specific candidates. We do not select or identify specific parties. We work very hard to ensure that the process of democracy and that the democratic institutions that support democratic outcomes are strengthened and their capacity is built. I stand by that. My team stands by that. And I think that the 32 years of our partnership bear witness to the fact that we are inclusive in our approach and are focused on the democratic future of Georgia.
By the way, you mentioned the 32 years of the partnership. What is the project you are proud of?
There are so many. Right now, I understand we have over 40 programs that are active in Georgia. In particular, I think the investments that we've made in bringing private sector investment, in working just yesterday, I was celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the launch of our Resilient Communities project, which works on the administrative boundary line to help provide skills, market access, greater competitiveness for those that live in the shadow of the Kremlin's occupation, to be able to ensure that they have hope, opportunity, and can stay in their homes, stay in their communities, and build a future not only for themselves, but for generations to come. That type of investment in the economic prosperity is the best way to show that democracy can deliver.
How do you feel? What is your assessment about Georgia's economy, how it develops?
It's actually doing very well, and we stand ready to be able to attract even more investment. And I'm very proud to say that later today I'm going to launch a new program that is focused on, together with the Ministry of Education and Science, on building teacher capability and capacity so that those skills that the Georgian workforce needs for the 21st century, not just for today, but again for generations to come, are invested in the teachers and the entire school system to ensure that Georgia's amazing talent and that workforce stays here and continues to contribute to Georgia's great economic presence.
Oh, that's really interesting. Can you say a little bit more details about this project you are launching today?
So it's, I believe, about it's a 5-year program, and building on the many decades we've had of investing in education, both for children, in university partnerships, at every level of education, workforce development, and helping ensure that the teachers remain. Even in America, we have teacher shortages, that those that can teach the next generation are called to service and have the knowledge and education they need to be able to prepare the next generation for Georgia's tremendous economic potential.
Thank you so much for this information. So, I would like to ask you about elections. You mentioned a couple of times that supporting the election process and supporting these NGOs and etc. who are working on the elections. We have the kind of very important elections in the next year. In 2024, which is about the parliamentary elections. This is the year when the president's term is ending, and then we will have the different kind of elections for the president, not direct elections for this institution. And this is very important because this is a third term of the ruling party, so this is very interesting what will be after the 2024. And what is your aim in that regard? What you're going to support in 2024 regarding the elections?
So we are working with the Central Election Commission, as I said, to ensure that the election process is free, fair, transparent, and to ensure that every citizen is able to cast their ballot freely and fairly and have their voices be heard. We're working with across all political parties, as well as the Central Election Commission, and we are supporting international observers to ensure that that work is ironclad and that the election is unquestionable regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, this is very important. I'm sure you remember the 2020 elections when more than for 6 months there was a protest outside in Tbilisi about the falsification in elections and etc. So do you think that there is a possibility to increase the trust towards the Electoral Commission?
That's what we're working very hard to do.
And there was the kind of problem with the so-called parallel vote tabulations in 2020, because there was kind of miscalculation in percentages and etc., which is also the NGO hardly and supported by the USAID. Do you think that it is necessary right now to support these NGOs to have all clear and no any more miscalculations with the kind of providing the information, etc.?
Absolutely. That's why we're working very hard with the Central Election Commission and across all electoral processes and participants to ensure that it's free, fair, and that the outcome is transparent and unassailable.
Finally, I would like to ask you about one report by the IC, I mean Intelligence Committee or Community, Intelligence Community regarding the Russia's interference in election process. My one question is, on one hand, whether Russia is really so much powerful in that regard. I mean, could it really interfere on the globe in 100 countries, because the report was sent to 100 countries. So whether it really has this kind of possibilities to interfere in these processes all across the globe.
So we know that democracy is a big threat to Putin. We see that every day on the headlines with the re-invasion of Ukraine. And so I would say that straight out of the Kremlin's playbook is to try and undermine democracy wherever they can. So yes, we know this activity takes place, but this is why it's so important to ensure that the democratic process, that elections are transparent, unassailable, free, fair, and observed, so that that interference has nowhere to go.
So, but on the other hand, Madam Ambassador, this is kind of really good excuse for many governments all across the globe to say that, you know, that the mistrust towards the elections, this is Russian propaganda, or on the other hand, to marginalize the opposition, to say that their protest against the government is also supported by the Russia because they are protesting against the election results and etc., etc. So they can say that the Russia's interference is about to decline the trust towards the elections, towards the official institutions and etc., towards the democracy. So I believe that this is kind of threat to give some kind of excuse to governments, local governments on the different countries.
This is why we have to work so hard to make sure that the process is understood, is transparent, and that citizens participate and know that their vote was cast and that it was counted and that their voice was heard. We're working so closely together with you, with the Georgian government, with the Central Election Commission, and not just here in Georgia, but in other places, to ensure that even if there are attacks, disinformation, or concerns, that we help build that confidence of citizenry in the democratic process and ultimately the democratic outcome.
Madam Ambassador, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
being with
me.
us. Good luck, and good luck actually today with the forum.
Thank you very much.